Hi, thank you all for joining me and taking time out of your day to learn about my story and how I came to find functional medicine. I hope to educate and empower you to take control of your own healthcare journey. This process called aging is not intended to be painful or plagued with diseases, multiple prescriptions, and an overall trending decline in our health. If you or a loved one are dealing with chronic illnesses such as diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, maybe brain fog, fatigue, joint stiffness, heartburn, gas, diarrhea, constipation, the list can go on and on. Against what you may have heard, this is not a normal part of the aging process. By the end of this, I hope to give you a little more hope on how you can proceed with your healthcare journey and not just survive, but thrive every day. My name is Ashli Schultz. I am a nurse practitioner and functional medicine provider here at Yost Wellness Center in Urbandale. Prior to this, I was a nurse in emergency medicine for over 20 years, my last 11 years flying around in helicopters, picking patients up at their worst. I had no idea what functional medicine was until I became a patient at Yost myself. Um, I had life-changing results, and I knew I had to bring this type of medicine to more people. And after I went through the program, I applied for nurse practitioner school so that I could share this journey and this passion of mine with more individuals. So what is functional medicine? I like to say it's the opposite of dysfunctional medicine, which I think we've all run into. It is a holistic, whole body approach, a root cause approach to not only fixing the symptoms that we're dealing with, but fixing the root cause of those symptoms. It's a medicine of why. We're very good at naming diseases based on what symptoms a patient may be presenting with, but why is the question we should be asking. Why are these symptoms beginning to present themselves in the first place? I like to use a metaphor of a tree. If our bodies were big, beautiful trees, then a functional medicine provider is like an arborist. What do we see on the surface of a tree? Branches, leaves, bark. And if one year our bark maybe is falling off, or maybe our leaves aren't flourishing like they used to, and you call out an arborist to come look at your tree, that arborist isn't going to give you some glue to glue that bark back on or paint to paint your leaves green again and call it good. We're going to bend down and look at the soil. We're going to actually look at what nutrients it's lacking. What's the root cause of the issue? That arborist would prescribe a necessary mixture of soil, micronutrients, the right amount of water and sun to make the roots flourish again, which in turn will help the leaves and the bark. This is what we do in functional medicine. We ask the question of why, not what. Why are these symptoms occurring? We need to understand the body as a whole system, not just your symptoms. We can also think of it like a mirage, like an iceberg. On the surface are the symptoms you present with, and we can treat based on those symptoms or group of symptoms, but it's what's under the water that's a much bigger issue. It's what's under the water that's going to take the Titanic out, not what's on the surface. We need to be diving deep below the surface to treat the root cause of your symptoms. That is a good healthcare professional. My journey started 5 or 6 years ago. I was at the peak of my nursing career as a flight nurse. I worked long hours in stressful environments like many of you do. I was in my mid-30s at the time. I was more sore getting out of bed every morning, and I contributed that to my workouts, or maybe I needed a new mattress. Then I noticed that I needed to take a nap every afternoon if I didn't load up on caffeine. And I figured it was due to working night shifts. And then I started to gain weight and I couldn't take the weight off no matter what I would do. And I went to my OB doctor and my primary care doctor, and they just told me that, sorry, that's what happens as you get older. I was so tired during the day, but had trouble sleeping at night. I started to get injured at the gym and my recoveries took longer and longer. I would walk from one room to the next and forget why I went in there. I couldn't read a book anymore and not have to repeat the page because I couldn't remember what I read. I started to have to look up protocols and medication dosages that I had memorized for years. If all of those symptoms weren't enough, the tip of my iceberg, the tipping point for me was when I forgot how to spell my daughter's name. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I had dementia, depression, and anxiety all at once. And so I did what many of you would do in the same situation. I went to my doctor. And I was told that I was overworked and overstressed and overweight. I was offered a prescription to help me stay awake during my night shift, and another one to help me sleep when I wasn't working, and an antidepressant to make me happier. Not one of those prescriptions addressed the root cause of my symptoms. I didn't have a drug deficiency. I do not have a Provigil deficiency or an Ambien deficiency, just like many of you don't have a Prilosec deficiency or a statin deficiency for your high cholesterol. I was never asked about my nutrition, sleep hygiene, what I was doing to manage my stress, how much water was I drinking, what I was doing for physical activity. None of that was discussed in the short 7 to 10-minute office visit I was allotted. At the time, I had never heard of functional medicine, so I did what I was told, and I went home with my prescriptions and I hoped for the best. But the best didn't come, and I got significantly worse. I saw a rheumatologist because my hands hurt so bad I couldn't pick up my water bottle. I went to an orthopedist and I had injections in my knees and my hips and my elbows and my back because all of my joints hurt so bad. It didn't just last in the morning. This was lasting all day long now. I had to quit the gym. I could no longer do Olympic lifts. Heck, I could hardly get in and out of the helicopter. I thought I was going to have to quit my job. I was scared I wasn't going to be able to perform, life-saving interventions on patients that were relying on me because of my joint pain. And then one night I was scrolling through Facebook and an ad popped up by our founder, Dr. Heather Yost, and she was talking about all the signs of an underactive thyroid. And I had every single one of them. Yet I had had my thyroid checked multiple different times, one just due to family history and others, as my symptoms began to get worse. And I was always told, nope, your numbers are normal. It can't be your thyroid. And so I thought, what the heck? It's a free 30-minute consultation. What do I have to lose? I went in, told my story, and after listening, Dr. Yost said the most reassuring thing I could ask for as a patient, and that was, I know we can help you. The first step was to do an extensive blood panel of over 70 biomarkers. This included labs that, as a 15-year-old veteran nurse, I had never heard of before. My second appointment came, and I went back to review my biomarkers, and lo and behold, finally had some answers. My immune system was attacking my thyroid, causing signs of an underactive thyroid, even though my numbers were normal. I had multiple nutritional deficiencies. I wasn't absorbing the nutrients from the food that I was eating. My inflammation markers throughout my body were elevated. My liver needed help detoxifying, and my adrenals were not working efficiently enough. We put our heads together. We decided to take a really deep dive into my gut health. We did a stool test that actually found overgrown bacteria, H. pylori, and a severe reaction to gluten. My urine hormone test showed an estrogen dominance and low testosterone levels. My cortisol showed that I was storing cortisone and made it hard for me to lose weight. We did a food sensitivity test. We worked one-on-one and did an elimination diet. I was supported through the whole process as we used pharmaceutical grade supplements to replace what nutrients I was missing. The one-on-one appointments were not just 10 minutes. We actually got to sit and talk about what was happening in my life and how I was feeling. I had life-changing results and knew that I had to share this type of medicine with other people in the world. So what was the root cause of my issues, and what is the root cause of so many people's chronic illnesses? And that was my gut health. If you would have asked me, do you have any digestive issues? I would have said no. I didn't have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. And you don't have to have those symptoms to have a dysfunction in your gut microbiome. I had a leaky gut. My severe reaction to gluten, years of night shift and stressful work environments, and poor diet choices caused an inflammation in my gut lining. And as you can see in the picture, it makes gaps in the gut lining here. This allows for particles of undigested food, toxins, and pathogens to enter our bloodstream, where the body does what it's supposed to. It sends a cascade of inflammation to take care of those because it's not supposed to be in there. This is what caused not only my joint pain from inflammation in my body, but it also inflamed my brain and caused all of my brain fog. The gut isn't just used for absorption of nutrients. It does so much more. Our immune system starts in the gut. 20% of our active thyroid hormone is made in the gut. 95% of the neurotransmitter serotonin, the one that gives us satisfaction, is also made in the gut. Our other neurotransmitters, dopamine and norepinephrine, are not made in the gut, but the enzyme that helps to produce them is. So when we have a dysfunction in our gut and the gut microbiome, it has significant health implications. Let me give you an example of crude oil. Gary Brecka is really big right now and uses this example really well. He says you can't take crude oil from the ground and directly put it into your car and make it run. It has to go through different molecular changes to get to the point where we can use it. And that's the same thing for anything that we eat or drink or any medications. Not one thing that we ingest is used as is in the body. Digestion actually starts in the mouth with our saliva, and it helps to break down our food and medications. As we have to make necessary conversions and coenzymes that break down our food so that we can transport that to our cells and actually use it as fuel. Without a diverse microbiome and healthy gut, those conversions don't happen and our cells don't get the energy they need. The gut microbiome is huge. It goes from stomach to anus. And if you laid it out, it's the surface area of a tennis court. The impact the microbiome has on your gut health is substantial. So what kind of things can disrupt our gut microbiome? Well, it starts from the day that we're born. Babies born vaginally versus C-section have a different gut microbiome. Breastfed versus bottle-fed, different gut microbiome. Geographic location has an effect on your gut microbiome, as well as, our environment of our homes, our work environments. Heavily carbohydrate and processed foods has a negative effect on our gut microbiome, just like it did on mine. If we don't have enough gastric secretions to help break down our food, then that will affect the gut microbiome. Same thing with constipation. If we aren't eliminating our toxins, that affects the gut microbiome. Antibiotic use, especially when we're using it for viruses that we don't need it. Antibiotics are life-saving and they're wonderful when they are needed. But if we're using them for viruses and where we don't need antibiotics, it not only kills the bad bacteria, but it takes our good bacteria with it. All of these things can affect our gut microbiome. And when that happens, that's when we begin to see those outward symptoms of a leaky gut. And it doesn't have to be digestive issues. Let me give you another example here of how the mind of a functional medicine provider works and how your provider should be diving deep under the surface to find the root cause of your issues. Imagine you go to the doctor and say, I'm sad, I'm hopeless. I have no interest in my job or my hobbies anymore. I've lost my appetite. I'm tired all the time. Your doctor will more than likely diagnose you with depression. But that's just the name we give to people who share that same collection of symptoms. It's not the root cause of your depressive symptoms. We need to be looking through a functional medicine lens. It could be like me, severe reaction to gluten that was triggering an autoimmune condition, making your thyroid function underactively or symptoms of an underactive thyroid. It could be that you're taking an acid blocker that prevents B12 absorption and you have a B12 deficiency. Or it could be a vitamin D deficiency because we live in Iowa. Or maybe you use chronic antibiotics for your acne and that causes an inflammation in the gut, which causes systemic inflammation, including in your brain. It could be that you love sushi, you eat it 3 times a week and you have mercury poisoning. Or maybe you hate fish and you have an omega fatty 3 acid deficiency. Or you love sugar and carbohydrates and you become resistant to insulin, and that drives your depressive symptoms. This is just a glance through the thought process behind a functional medicine provider. This is how healthcare should be, taking a holistic, whole body approach to finding the root cause of your issues. Regular healthcare is great and it's needed, but it's kind of like car insurance. It's great when accidents happen, but it doesn't put premium gas in your car. It doesn't change the oil or rotate the tires. It doesn't help extend the longevity of your life. Here at Yost, we do this in a 3-step process. The first visit is a free 30-minute consultation with one of us 4 functional medicine providers. At that point, we can order your functional biomarkers, over 70 biomarkers looking at every system in the body. That starts at $399. We're able to draw those here in-house, or we work with LabCorp across the country. Second visit comes 1 to 3 weeks later to review your biomarkers at no charge. We discuss your results, your primary concerns. We can recommend other testing at that time as we see fit. We create a written action plan and review your estimated costs. And then step 3 is the best part. It's starting care. You work one-on-one with one of us practitioners. We guide you every step of the way, doing nutraceutical supplementation, diet adjustments. We hold you accountable and help you reach those healthcare goals. And at the end of 4 months, we retest. We want to show you that your hard work is actually paying off. We would love to help you and see you in the office soon. Thanks for taking the time to listen today.